Hi, welcome to the podcast Ease into Clarity. I'm Dr. Divi, family doctor turned intuitive coach, and I'm here to help you. In this podcast, we will learn mental techniques, emotional techniques, and spiritual techniques to change daily problems. So maybe it's your husband, your boss, your coworker, your kids, they're driving you crazy. You can email me any of your questions and I will use all the techniques I've learned over the years and help you. Grab your hot chocolate and make sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Ciao. Hi, it's Dr. Divi from the podcast Ease into Clarity. Let's go a little bit deeper into healing the patriarchy and we'll see what comes up. So today we're talking specifically for women or for men, but this whole idea of feeling complete. In our last podcast, we talked about knowing who you are in truth. And this next podcast is teaching us what we learned about who we were and how we were taught that we were incomplete. And depending on how you were raised, right? Of course, it depends, but I'm going to talk more from a societal point of view, but also from my own cultural point of view. From a societal point of view, it's kind of assumed that you're going to get older, get a job, get married, but with real emphasis on the married and have kids part. And especially for those of us who don't have kids, that can feel like we've done something so murderous and wrong. I know so many people who chose not to have children, and they have difficulty walking in society without this almost energy be directed at them. Again, this is their perception that they've done something wrong. They should have had kids. Or in my case, you have one kid. Why did you stop at one? And so as a society, from a very young age, we're taught that if you don't get married and maybe even procreate, there's something wrong with you. But just think about that for a minute. What happens under that thought that you have to get married? And I love marriage, don't get me wrong. But what's happening under that thought is you're less than. And you're taught then that you're only complete when you have X, Y, Z. And for those of us older folks on the call, listening live or, the YouTube, we can all relate to, yes, marriage may be wonderful or not, but it doesn't complete us. So from a very young age, you are taught a very much non-truth, that there is something empty in you. And society feeds into it. Hollywood does, Bollywood does. We have all these movies and songs and, all this stuff that tells us life begins, you are complete when. And that could not be further from the truth. You are born complete. You are whole. And there's never been anything half whole about you. Now, you may choose to get married and have kids and do all those wonderful things, but if it's done from this idea that there's something empty or vacant about you, then there will be struggles in that, and we all have them. What I see, a lot in a lot of women and men, but especially women, is because that we so deeply believe that we have to get married. We've got this biological clock ticking, which may be true from that physical standpoint. There's a lot of internal shame and blame, body fixing, makeup fixing, fixing my mind, fixing what do I need to do to make sure that they will choose me. And as somebody who played this dance, who did this dance for years, I can totally relate. And then as a result of that thinking, whether you be man or woman, you wait for this epitomal day when you get swept off by your feet by the person from the opposite sex. And as we know, that always just falls flat on the floor. And it falls flat on the floor because it cannot work and it does not work because it's against universal law. You are born complete. You are complete. You are a child of the divine. There is nothing ever broken about you, and there never has been. So just that little thought, I need to get married so that in itself has such a deep falseness to it. And we buy into it. And we buy into things like that, we'll get more of the negative feeling emotions, anxiety, anger, shame, guilt, and so on. And when we start with the truth that I am whole, I am complete, I am full, I am incredible, then we can magnetize that which is a match to ourselves. And a lot of Hallmark cards talk about that. You can only get married when you're whole and complete. But good luck figuring that out when you're 25 or 30, right? Often we need to go through the pain first of following what society teaches us, only to then go through our dark night of the soul. We're like, wait a second, maybe I was whole from the very beginning. And when we get that, then we can actually start to heal. Then we can start to shift. Then we can really start to shift. And when we really, really start to get that, then everything can start to change. It really is about us surrendering and seeing that there's more to us than this body and this mind, this body, our bank accounts and so on. And when we are open to that, we are whole from the get-go, then we can practice the forgiveness work that I teach in a lot of these podcasts. Because when we believe that we are lacking, then we will have issues. So I want you to think of areas in your life where you act from this area of lack. Oh, I've got to lose that weight. Oh, I've got to get that six-pack. Oh, I've got to get those high cheekbones. Oh, I've got to get that perfect makeup product. Our society is riddled in it, beginning, middle, and end. And it could not be the biggest lie that we have been taught. We have been taught the biggest falsity, that you're empty. We have trillions of dollars of industries that teach us that we feed into to fix a problem that isn't broken. Now, marriage is a beautiful entity, a beautiful experience, but it will never complete you. The only thing that can complete you is your relationship with yourself, with your soul, with the divine, with the I am love consciousness. Your thoughts are useless. Underneath the thoughts, there is a space inside of you. I often feel it somewhere in the middle of my chest, my solar plexus area, my heart area, where I know that I am whole. I know I am an entity of love. I know I am capable of infinite joy and laughter and fun and freedom and surrender. I am that presence. And when I stay there, then I know I am whole. If I have a job, great. If I have a partner, great. But I don't need it to complete me. And when we're taught in a society that we need something to complete me, there's actually negative energy there. We're filling something that was never broken. But we can spend the majority of our lives trying to fix something that was never broken. So I want you to pause for a minute and just think, where in your life are you trying to fix something, trying to make something better, fantasizing about a moment when things are better, when I'm on that cruise ship in Disneyland with 2 kids and a husband and a dog. And yeah, that's a beautiful experience. But it cannot completely if you're not feeling whole in yourself. So homework from this week is I want you to list everything that you think you're lacking. And maybe at the next full moon, burn it. And try this meditation. Hand on the heart, eyes closed. I am complete. I am whole. I am born as a child of the divine. And maybe if you, like me, were born into that society, born into that culture, and it's time to change it. It's very simple. You need to forgive it, to let in the truth of your expansion. And you need to sit in the magnificence of your heart and of your being. Because you were born that way, you are that way, and you will always be that way. And every belief that says you're not that is just one big falsity. Maybe you've run that gamut, married 3 times, married once, not married at all yet. Awesome. It's not right or wrong. Forgive the idea that you're a less than. And let the truth of your infinite potential enter your heart. You are as whole and complete as you choose to believe you are right now, with a ring on your finger or not, with kids in the crib or not. You are there right now because it's a feeling. Everything you think you want is inside of you. We just need to get quiet and get still and start to really perceive and believe it. So I would love you after this podcast to spend some moments reflecting What has patriarchy taught you? And this affects men too. You know, a lot of men I work with, I can only get married when I have the house and the Porsche and the car. I'm only enough when. And the more we believe that, the more pain we're in. The less we believe that, the more freedom we have. So I hope that helps, hopefully to give you a little bit of sense that there's freedom inside of you right now. I'm sending you lots of love. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in this podcast, Ease into Clarity. It is such a joy, pleasure, and honor to be in your living room. What I would love is if you follow me on Instagram, DRDIVI, or go to my website, drdIVI.com, or write a review. That would be even more amazing. Thank you. If you really enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share it with friends, family. Tell them to follow me, because I think the more of us that listen to the fact that each of us can start to shift, each of us can shift mental things, emotional things, spiritual shift, to shift our daily reality. When more and more of us do it, we get a better planet. We get more love. We get more happiness. We